Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Starladder America coverage. We're here with day 5 of the group stage. We've got 5 games coming up today, playing a little bit of catch-up as some of those wild card slots have already been used. And we'll get things started with Shadows of the Past versus Navi US. I'm Zyori, joined by Blaze once again. Blaze, my friend, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Got a nice little bit of sleep in between Starladder China and Starladder North America, and now we're going to see these teams breaking out against one another. I mean, obviously, you got to have some favoritism towards Navi US for how they've been performing of late and how shaky Shadows of the Past have been. But even still, as a stand-in for Fogged, it's going to be a rise, and along with that, as Shadows, obviously, they have a lot of unknown factors to their playstyle, so maybe something Navi US won't be prepared for.
Yep, certainly. And we'll take a look at the grid here just to get a handle on how this group stage has been settling down. It is Navi US in the lead. They're currently 3-0, so undefeated. And them and EG, the only 2 undefeated teams, though Evil Geniuses have only played 2 games as of now, and they have 1 more game coming up here today. Shadows of the Past are actually off to a decent start as well. They are 3-1. I'm not sure who they've played already. I reckon it might be a couple of the easier matchups, but they're still off to a good start, and certainly still some possibilities for them here in this group stage. So should be interesting, and as always, a lot is on the line here, Blaze.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, obviously, there's limited qualifier spots to get to Kiev or wherever the land finals are going to be held, so they're going to be fighting for it from the earlier stages of the tournament. Obviously, we've only been into the American portion of the event for a week and a half, but still, we're seeing already some great strats, some great playstyles, and I'm interested to see what shifts, right? Obviously, we see like the same kind of popular heroes, the death ball meta, the pushing heroes that can really just kind of stand in front on the front line and sustain themselves. But maybe we'll see something a little bit different, just 1 or 2 picks out of the ordinary. That way, we can get things interesting. And if not, then we'll just have to see a little bit of flashy play when it comes down to the heroes themselves. Maybe some cool Skywrath mage combos. Maybe seeing Navi pick up like a Clockwork to make that work very well. It would be great against the Shadow Shaman, and I think Viper and Skywrath are very well set up when you connect somebody with Cogs.
Yep, man. Shadows of the Past on the dire side will be commencing some pushing here with their Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman duo. I guess Nature's Prophet is still in the pool, so it could be an option for them if they want to commit to some summons to knock down these towers. They will do a 4th ban on the Faceless Void. I think that certainly makes some sense against the Skywrath Mage. Some pretty obvious synergy there. And Navi US ban out Pugno with their 3rd, and maybe tempted to ban out another pushing hero, maybe a Jakiro, maybe a Nature's Prophet. Someone like that would probably fit the bill for a good 4th ban here.
Remaining. Yeah, definitely agree. Something with summons or just ways to reduce the tower from dealing its damage is the important thing here, because they've already got 2 major sources of damage. It's great on the dire side for killing off Roshan, but even more importantly, taking down towers repeatedly. They just need to make sure that the tower can't really defend itself. They need the creeps to tank it up, something of that nature. I would personally like to see maybe like a Chen or an Enchantress from Shadows of the Past, maybe a little bit of insane micro skills, get some early game aggression there. That would be really interesting to me. But no matter the case, if they can just find their opening, find some early blood, and create the space for Roshan, I think that's going to be a key aspect of their lineup here.
Yes, sir. Remaining. They do ban out that Nature's Prophet after all. And now Navi US will think about what they want to pick up here. They will need another support, a carry, and probably an offlaner here. So still a lot of options available in their draft. And, well, I guess we'll just have to be a little patient here and decide what they want to do, as they could really take this draft into pretty much any angle.
Yep, we'll see. Tapping into reserve time a little bit. Them thinking about this pick. This is really important timing for the second pick team to decide exactly what they want to go with. And Magnus, it's going to be. So a very interesting pickup and not one we're used to seeing. But nevertheless, it's one of those initiators that can just put out a large amount of damage, or at least set up a large amount of damage for AoE teammates. And of course, the disables are really important against a lineup that tries to outmaneuver you like Death Prophet.
Yeah, Magnus is always a fun hero to watch. He's one of those ones that I'm always secretly hoping somebody will pick up, because RP is just one of those potentially game-breaking abilities that can take you from certain defeat to certain victory if placed properly. And just a fun guy to watch all around. Tidehunter picked up for Shadows of the Past, so synergizing with that Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman pretty well for some nice team fight, and he should have a pretty good time in that dire off lane, which, assuming that's where he'll be, though, still an option for Shadows of the Past to do some sort of an aggro tri-lane here.
Sure. I really hope that Navi US goes for the Sven here. Up against this Hide Hunter, his ultimate kind of counteracts the negative impact of Anchor Smash, so you can still get some good damage out. He's a natural BKB carrier, which is good against the Shadow Shaman, and he does have quite a bit of burst damage with his ultimate active to bring down the Death Prophet. Generally, you worry about things like Sven getting kited, but with Magnus and his RP setup, the fact that the Viper has a great slowing effect as well, he should be able to stay on target, and I would really love to see that pick here. But they're going to go with the Earthshaker for now. Korok loves that one as well. Not really
Dire
the
team pick.
maybe AoE hard carry, but at least one that brings a lot to the fight when it comes down to spells.
Yes, absolutely. And a hero that does work pretty well for the anti-push. Known as one of the better heroes for turtling up in the base, hard to break high ground against, and really just a good support when paired with the Skywrath in particular. We see those two paired pretty commonly. The Ancient Seal helps buff up some of his damage, and a fair bit of kill potential between those two, especially if they grab
10
somebody
seconds
a little more
remaining.
aggressive. Something like a Mirana could be an option here, though. I kind of agree with you,
5
buddy. I
seconds.
think Sven
5
would be
seconds remaining.
titillating, to say the least.
It's hard to say where they'd lane it now, though. The Magnus
Yeah.
Reserve
could go on the
time.
offlane theoretically with Skewer, but it's uncommon, obviously, and so that's a uh, makes it difficult to decide how they want to go. If they want to
Yeah.
go like mid Magnus and safe lane Viper, that could work fine. We've also seen Korok even shift this Earthshaker into a core mentality. No matter how he's going to play it, support or core, we know that he can make some plays happen. He's been given my MVP easily a number of games that we've seen him on this hero. And honestly, I'm surprised that made it all the way to fourth pick here. Earthshaker is very meta relevant, and in the hands of Korok is just a devastating force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I actually had the chance to speak with him a fair bit at TI4, just in general, and he talked a lot about Earthshaker and was constantly telling Fog, "Listen, dude, we need to play more Earthshaker. I swear, this hero is imba. Just let me show you what I've got." And he has definitely lived up to the hype, at least in recent games. I don't know how much they actually used him in TI4. I guess a little bit here and there, but certainly a hero that we've all come to love and enjoy. Shadows of the Past will take their time here figuring out what they want to do. They could be interested in a potential Mirana pick as well. And then there will be plenty of supports left over if they want to go for that aggro tri-lane. They could pick up something like a Rubik, a Shadow Demon, a Vengeful Spirit, plenty of other heroes with a Disable that makes for easy arrow setups and also just a lot of kill potential as well. But they will take their time deciding on how they want this draft
10
to come
seconds
about.
remaining.
And okay, they'll settle on the Chikiro. So still a similar flavor, potential for a
Navi
killer
US's
tri-lane.
turn to
Also
ban.
potential for a core Jakiro, though I think that's a little bit less likely. They could safe lane the Death Prophet, off lane the Tide, and throw the Jakiro mid, if that's something they were inclined to do.
Yeah. It may sound weird, but the last pick that
10
from Shadows of the
seconds
Past, I would
remaining.
love to see something like a silencer. I know it's it doesn't, I mean, it fits
5
well enough in
seconds
lanes, but it's
remaining.
not something that we've seen from them very often. But if they pick that up against this team lineup, the global silence could just
Reserve
completely change how
time.
the fight plays out. Magnus and Earthshaker, even Skywrath, very reliant on their spellcasts. And yeah, they do have the silence from Death Prophet, and that's all well and good. But just adding the global on top of that, I think would really shut down what Navi US have in mind. As well, up against a Viper, if you wait till the Viper strike or you cast on him prior to level 6, you're actually going to be able to guarantee the disarm effect from last word. So I like that counter synergy as well. But
Mhm.
it's not as push oriented, and it does have a time limit. He's not going to be taking a
10
50-minute game.
seconds remaining.
Yes, and that is one of the issues with the silencer. If he
5
can get a
seconds
lot of
remaining.
early farm, if they put him in the position one, maybe he goes for Midas. We've seen silencers rush and Ags and be pretty damn effective with it.
Dire
But Navi
team
US will take
ban.
a different approach. They ban out the Enigma, another great pusher that would have worked well here for Shadows of the Past, giving them some of those valuable summons, which they are lacking on the pushing front, and could open up some more efficiency in those lanes as well. So a smart choice, and
Navi
Shadows of the
US's
Past will
turn to
ban out
pick.
the Naga Siren, afraid potentially of the old Naga.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a good one for a turtle lineup, just trying to hold the position and get farmed up
Dire
long term.
team
But it's not
pick.
the route Navi US want to go. They're going to be looking towards what looks like a safe lane Viper with the Magnus on the mid lane and the Centaur on the off lane. Stampeder around with abilities like Reverse Polarity and Echo Slam. Even before the Blink Dagger, things get very dangerous. So you have to be careful how you position yourself if you're Shadows of the Past. As well, things like the Ravage become harder to hit if you don't have a way to stop the
10 seconds
stampede. You can still
remaining.
outrun it pretty quickly. The tentacles don't travel as fast as they used to going
5
across the
seconds
battlefield. So
remaining.
maybe it's a nice maneuvering way of going about the team fights. And of course, it's a great burst
Reserve
combo. You
time.
just go, jump, kill off one person like the Ember Spirit, and In this case, you're just going to be diffusing any real push because they're not willing to go in 4v5 against this kind of a lineup. Though,
Yeah.
looking at this last pick, Ember Spirit, I almost feel like it's too vulnerable against heroes like Skywrath, Magnus, and Centaur. What do you think about it?
I completely agree. You took the words right out of my mouth, my friend. Say there will eventually be 3 Blink Daggers on this Radiant team, and Ember Spirit is one of those heroes that can do a lot of damage, but he is truly a glass cannon. He likes to sit back, spam that Sleight of Fist, maybe get some Searing Chains, and basically commit to the kill once you're already on the run and on the defensive. And with heroes like this that can jump right up in his face, especially heroes with a lot of stuns, if any of these 3 initiators catch the Ember Spirit, maybe he gets hit by Viper, they have the silence, they've got plenty of stuns to lock him down, and I worry that this Ember Spirit will not have a good time. Maybe he'll have a good time in lane and get some momentum, and if he grabs a couple of early kills and starts kind of building up that snowball before the Blink Daggers come out, he'll maybe have an okay time. But yeah, I really worry about this mid game, especially for the Ember Spirit and even a lot of the other heroes on Shadows of the Past, where Na'Vi US have a lot of tools to deal with the push, and it's not only one initiator they'll have to worry about, it's the initiator and then the series of counter initiators to follow up after that. Again, the silence with the Skywrath and the trio of blinks. I don't know. I think this Na'Vi draft is just a little bit more equipped to deal with the pretty straightforward strategy of Shadows of the Past.
Yeah, I mean, the Ember Spirit might be able to dodge out of things like the Hoof Stomp as well as the Reverse Polarity. Those have a small cast animation, and the Remnant is pretty quick. But there are some instant abilities. The Echo Slam can be used as a solo initiation with the Aftershock stun, and the Sky Silence. It's going to be a really tough game for him, almost to the point that I would almost recommend him go for an unorthodox build. We always see the Phase Boots, Magic Wand, maybe Drum into Battle Fury. I would like to see a Manta style here. Just dodge out Viper Strikes, dispel silences, and just get the hell out of dodge when you're under a lot of pressure. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. We don't really see Manta on Ember Spirit too often, but it certainly does bring a lot to the table and the context of the here and the now. So could be an option, but we'll see. We'll see how Shadows of the Past do this. They have a lot of push potential, but if they don't knock down these early towers, I feel like their strategy just really relies on that tower momentum.
Sorry about that.
Whoa, daddy! Blaze getting
Dude,
a phone call. Was that your ringtone there?
No, that was my alarm actually. I
Oh.
told you I was taking a nap from the really early morning SL China, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just get 6 hours of sleep. I'll sleep until like 4 p.m. That's no problem. But yeah, we have a pretty early day of Dota here for the American side, so I'm glad that I was able to wake up early and
Yeah, we
not.
sure do. And I want to make mention of this Dire Courier. This is Cluckles, but not just a regular Cluckles. He's all about that ass. And of course, he's got the Divine Essence going on. This is one tricked out Cluckles. I like it.
I thought it was all about that money. He's got the dollar signs, man.
Those are dollar signs?
Yeah,
Oh, I
don't
thought
know
it
where
said.
you're going with
Oh, I
that.
thought it said ass. Oh God, they are dollar signs. Jeez. Oh, and we all know
Where are
where
you
my
at,
mind
man?
is, I guess. Jesus. Oh God. All right, let's introduce some rosters here. Na'Vi US, they'll be on the Radiant side. Snake King will be taking Helm on the
30
Viper down in the
seconds
safe
to
lane
battle.
for now. We'll be their stand-in here in the place of Fogged on the Magnus. He is a Rise, of course, headed for the mid lane. It will be Korok in the off lane playing on the Earthshaker, a little bit of the bass and tremble there. We will have Brax on the Centaur and 1437 on the supports, it looks like. Perhaps it'll just be the Earthshaker doing some fancy work in the lane here, and then the Centaur will take over. But interesting positioning from Na'Vi US. I can't imagine it will be a
The battle
straight
begins.
off-lane Earthshaker. Though on the Radiant side, I suppose anything is possible.
Yeah, I think they actually might go safe lane solo on Snaking. He's got a lot of regen for himself. He's perfectly suited to go 1v1 against a Tide Hunter. Probably one of the better heroes to do so. So if they wanted to try and make an aggro try out of these 3 heroes, there is a lot of possibility there. Already the Fisher block to pull the lane back. And from here, all they have to do is get one concussive shot, chain stun combo, and that's an easy first blood. Now, it is noteworthy that Brax's stun costs a ton of mana. So even these 4 clarities they have remaining might not be enough to sustain them for second and third blood, but yeah, 1 is going to give them a good start, and maybe they can start roaming from there.
Yeah, and beautiful lane positioning from Na'Vi US here in the off lane. That'll make Brax's life a lot easier. He will have to last hit under the tower, but so far he's 2 for 2 and off to about as good of a start as the Centaur can hope for. Now on the Dire side, they will go off lane with Narok's Tide Hunter there. In the mid, it will be Annihilate playing on the Death Prophet up against the Magnus, and they will do a safe lane try. They've got Jakiro as well as their support Shadow Shaman here supporting good old Ember Spirit in the position 1. But already we see initiation as they go in onto the Jakiro. Hex out onto Brax, but he'll continue to press forward. Connects with the hoof stomp. A double edge is available. Fisher connects, but it's on the other side. How unfortunate for Navi US. That'll secure the Jakiro's survival. And now Ember Spirit taking a lot of damage. Pops his Flame Guard. Neither side will have enough for a kill, but a few heroes pretty darn low, and really just an unfortunate fissure there from Korok.
Yeah, they need to make that Centaur stun count. They only get one, essentially. They'll get one more with another Clarity when they retreat, but look at this creep wave that's going to be following them to their tower. There was a single pull from the side of the Shadow Little Pass, which inevitably will push out the lane against your tower. In this case, they wanted to make something happen before that occurred, but now they're under the creep wave. They don't really have any durability. The Centaur does have Stout Shield, but even still, he's going to have to turtle in position, wait out the Clarity, or wait out some very gradual mana regen while the smoke movement comes through from Na'Vi towards mid, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like they may actually rotate up top. Korok draws on the mini-map. They'll put a ward down as they move and get some vision of the top rune. And indecisive. Will they go mid or will they go top? And it looks like the rotation will be towards the mid lane. DP is just about to hit level 4. They're looking for a potential courier snipe here, but Cluckles is being very patient, waiting it out. Does have a full bottle, and he's on the move. I don't think they'll be able to grab it, though. Annihilate with great lane positioning, perhaps anticipating the potential courier snipe will keep Cluckles safe.
Yeah, I definitely think that the movement towards mid was a good idea, but Annihilate seems very privy to their general absence from the top lane. Right now, as far as trying to go blow for blow on the top, the fact that 1437 is only level 1 really hinders their kill potential. Just contributing to concussive shot can start a chain stun that would be able to net a first blood against a low level hero, but now that everybody's level 2 towards level 3, the Skywrath just doesn't really bring enough to the table, and every time they extend themselves, they're risking their lives.
You're certainly right about that. And Centaur is, wow, he's racking up the farm now, 19-1 in terms of CS, and almost level 5. This is just great news for the offlane Centaur, and also really bad news for this Ember Spirit. He only has 5 last hits under his belt, and that is not where he wants to be. Meanwhile, in the Radiant safe lane, Snake King is doing a pretty good job shutting down this Tide Hunter, who only has a single last hit. Already just in this laning phase, Navi US with a pretty sizable lead, 1,000 gold and about 500 experience with no hero kills or tower kills coming out quite yet. That is just pure lane presence right there, Blaze.
Yeah, very great mechanical skill in a lot of these players here in Snake King, just doing a number on Nayrock. Of course, he's got the lane matchup favoritism there. Viper is really good against a melee hero, especially when he's got this poison tech build that gets 3 for the harassment and is just able to continuously force the Tide back down to his last tango, in fact. But yeah, obviously they're posturing on top lane. The aggressive tri-lane is what's shut down Ember Spirit, maybe not actually getting a kill on him, but at least making him very wary of approaching the creep wave. We will see a regen rune spawn up on the top, but it is viewed by both with these observer wards on the top rune.
Yes, sir. And Korok once again rotating up towards the top lane, and they're not putting too much pressure on this Ember Spirit in terms of kill potential. Pretty happy with just winning the lane, but just as I say that, they press forward. Ice Path comes in to delay the inevitable here, but it will be a first blood drawn by 1437 as the Ember Spirit takes a tumble. They'll continue to pursue. Shadow Shaman on the run. A few more auto attacks to bring him down, and they will dive the tower. It is 1437 with a double kill to get things started. And there you go. Navi US turn up the aggression and get Centaur one step closer to level 6. And slow down that Ember Spirit even more.
Yeah, if they finally got the levels to back it up. The Centaur's at an odd level, which is great for his double edge, and the 1437 did of course have his Arcane Bolt. Now with the Ancient Seal, this Ember, I think he might as well rotate to like bottom lane or something. Like, he can't stay here for much longer. With the Stampede going to be coming out soon, the fact that Centaur has his, okay, they're just going to go. They get the stun, they get the silence. This might be his death again. The Ice Blast will come out, it's preventing the Centaur, and therefore they can't follow through. But even now, at 300 HP and with no regen, he really doesn't have a place to actually feel comfortable.
Yeah, Jakiro just has boots and a Sentry, no pooled regen there, and Shadow Shaman's walking his way back to lane, and he has just 2 clarities. He's trying to farm what he can with this easy camp, but 0 regeneration up here means that Ember Spirit won't really be able to have any lane presence, and if he presses forward, runs the risk of just getting shot down by the Centaur. I mean, Prax has potential for a solo kill if he's not careful, just with that double edge and hoof stomp alone. So this poor Ember Spirit will just sit back and try and leech experience as best he can. Right now, it's just that Death Prophet farming away in the mid lane, and a lot on her shoulders right now. We'll see Navi US contesting the pole camp, And we'll go ahead and snipe a couple of these last hits, minimizing the experience that Shadows of the Past to get. And Jakiro will connect with an Ice Path, throws out the Liquid Fire. But nice fissure from Korok, does break it up. Shadow Shaman does get caught on the other side of the fissure, but they won't pursue for a kill. I don't know, Blaze. Can this Death Prophet start regaining momentum? I mean, she is the last hit leader right now and doing quite well in the mid lane, but I feel like they need more than just a lone Death Prophet to regain momentum here.
Well, one nice thing is the fact that Arise is going to want to start rotating pretty soon. Like, farming up the mid lane is okay, but moving in with Stampede RP is generally the point of the draft. So I think at that point in time, the Exorcism should be able to claim the tower, and that's probably the only reason that Magnus has given pause for leaving his lane. For now, Annihilate has been able to turn his farm into early phase boots. He's level 7 with a 304 build, which is very cost-effective for pushing out the lanes. And the end result is that although he's not really bringing it back into their fold, he's making sure that the Magnus has to stay put. And that means that, of course, the kill count remains at 2 for 0 instead of just ramping up into 5 or 6 kills straight for Navi US.
Yep, and now Centaur is level 6, so he has Stampede online, and there is even scarier initiation potential, not only in the top lane, but even in these other lanes as well. And there's a rotation towards the mid. Korok is moving around, and perhaps looking to put some pressure on this DP, who does have a DD in the bottle. Arise level 7, and he does have a reverse polarity online, ready to rock and roll. Korok is only level 4 at the moment, but doesn't mean he can't get into a well-placed fissure to perhaps set up a kill in the mid lane if DP is not careful with her positioning. And even 1437 now is rotated down to the bottom lane, so I guess Navi US thinking, well, we've already won the top lane, we've shut down the Ember Spirit, now it's time to move around and shut down these other lanes a bit more and spread the resources around.
Yeah, but Tide has already gotten his stacks off, and he does have this 0-2-3 build, so he's going to be able to farm these up pretty nicely. Going for one more stack here, Nayrok is going to be getting a hefty sum of gold from these. It's also some nice experience, moving in towards an early mech or blink. It's either, yeah, it looks like it's not going to be the Death Prophet picking up the mech. Annihilate rotates up top with that double damage rune, a Bracer in his stash, looking for drums long term, and they really want this tower, but obviously Navi US aren't going to give it up without a fight.
Yeah, this will not be an easy hold. Brax now has that 4th point in double edge, so his burst potential is pretty darn scary. And Arise is just being very patient at the bottom of the river here. No Blink Dagger up on him quite yet, but he does have a haste rune. And that will kind of play a similar role, at least for now. Smoke coming on the Courier as Cluckles picks up that Rocket Pack and will deliver it. Now Annihilate pops the Exorcism, and they do go in onto the tower. Radiant do have a Glyph available, and they will start to pressure the bottom lane. Snake King and 1437 doing a lot of damage to this tower. They will finish it off. No deny from the Tide. So already they've found the better of this exchange. And Shadows of the Past, they see a Shockwave, and they go, all right, Magnus is there. He's ready to RP. Let's just back it up, boys. And it's essentially a wasted Exorcism. They do about 200 damage to the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, that ultimate, the first user of that ultimate is probably one of the most consequential in the entire game, so the fact that that was just completely wasted, it's really setting them back. Like, that was their comeback tool. The Shadow Shaman is not going to be 6 for quite some time, so the Exorcism was what they needed and why they needed to take a tower, but Magnus responding to whoever DP is and getting that lucky haste rune as well, it just makes it so difficult to deal with it. And now we just see the consequences of Shadows of the Past being starved for gold. You were talking about it, the Shadow Shaman barely could afford boots, and now the big thing is they're lacking Observer wards. Jakiro does not have them coming on the Courier. He's going for the mech. Really? You're making your supports go for the mechanism when you have a Tide and a Death Prophet, who are the only ones that really have... Okay, Tide doesn't have CS at all, but he at least has a nice Ancient stack to build off of. I really feel this mechanism decision is going to set them back far too much as far as general vision and map control, because the supports won't be able to buy anything but that.
Yep, and it's also just a timing issue. I mean, Jakiro does not really have a lot of farm. He has boots, and that's about it. 8 CS, and I'm not sure where he's going to find space to farm. Any lane that has creeps pushed in, Tide, DP, and Ember Spirit are generally a higher farm priority, so this is... I completely agree with you. This is really an odd choice, and I worry that Shadows of the Past won't have this mech online by the time they really need it, and Navi US are grouping up and putting on a lot of team fight pressure. Snake King already has his mech complete, still has the recipe sitting at home, but once he grabs the Courier, he'll have it up, and of course that does mean Navi US are in team fighting shape.
Yeah, I really kind of feel like the drums are overrated these days. Like, it's still a great all-around item. It gives great stats. It's an important probably to have at least one on the team, but the nerf after nerf on it, making it so that it's more a utility pickup than an actual core hero pickup, it just makes it hurt all the more when we see all these Death Prophets and Razors picking up the drum when the team still desperately needs the mechanism. So at this point, they'll have the buckler out. They'll get some nice armor, which will deal with some of the damage flying out. But most of it is magical right now. I mean, you look at majority of these heroes, even the Viper's build, and you're actually, well, you do see 3 points of Nether Toxin, but you still get a lot of damage over time as well. So I don't know. At this point, the it'll still come out in an okay time, but unless they take a tower before the mechanism, which is usually what you get the mech for, is to take towers, then I still think it's going to be Navi US just overrunning SP, and they'll wish they had made a different choice.
Yes. Sorry, I had to tab out for a second there, but no, I certainly agree with you. And interesting decision making from the Dire side. And even Brax now has his Blink Dagger up, so Centaur is ready to move around, find some kills, and well, make it rain, as they say. Looking at other Blink Dagger timings here, Magnus not too far off the mark, about 2/3 of the way there with 1,400 gold in savings. And Korak, well, he's still pretty far off the mark. But no surprise there, only 9 minutes in. He's still doing okay, has a bottle, brown boots, and about 400 gold to spare. His next milestone is grabbing that level 6 and finding Echo Slam. It looks like Skywrath will reconnect here, and now that Theban's back in, I think we might have a resume on our hands.
Yeah, mechanism already up for Viper. If he just groups up with his allies, even the Ravage won't be doing that much, to be honest. They might be able to get one kill in the early stages of the team fight, but the mech will be able to rebound the other heroes. So at best, I think they kill off the Skywrath and a Ravage, and they can limit the bloodbath that ensues because they don't have so much damage. But even still, Navi US are willing to chase them under towers with the Haste Rune, with the Stampede, and one good team fight, and they're going to have Blink on Magnus too. But bottom lane.
Ravage down bottom. Yeah, Viper Circuit's already come out, and Narok will fall. The Stampede flies. That'll keep Theban alive, and now Snake King, he's caught inside of the shackles, and he may take a tumble here. No, he'll just use Wand Charges and TP home. Close call, but it's not enough, as Crypt Swarm will finish him off. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, they will catch the Jakiro, as Korak sets it up with a fissure, and they jump all over him. Haste Rune on a rise, Blink Dagger on Brax. No way he's going to survive that one. So it is a 1-for-2 across the map, and Navi US will be able to do a little bit of damage to this Tier 1 tower mid.
Unfortunately, but most importantly, that's a Ravage. Like, the Exorcism's not going to do much without Disables on top of it. Right now, they've got a rank 2 Ice Path, no Ravage. It really just feels like they're going to have nothing going for them. And the Ember getting picked off, towers are going to start dropping.
I mean, he just melted, and this is that issue we were talking about. Once the Blink Daggers come about, what does the Ember Spirit do? He has no way to get away from it unless he's constantly keeping a Fire Remnant down, and even in that case, they still have a lot of stun lock and a huge amount of burst just in the Centaur alone with the double-edged hoof stomp once he presses forward. It'll now be 5-1, only 10.5 minutes into this game, but Navi US with almost a 7,500 gold lead and about a 4,000 experience lead here as well. There's your Blink Dagger on Magnus, so that's 2 out of 3, and going to make things even more difficult for this Dire side.
Yeah. One good thing is they do have this Tide Hunter farming. He was really good about stacking despite being in a 1v1 matchup. I guess that's why he had so low CS in the lane, is he really just wasn't invested in the Tide versus Viper matchup at all. But he's going to pick up Arcane Boots off of this, and I don't really feel like the heroes are going to be living long enough to really benefit from that full mana recharge. It's like, okay, if they do win a fight, they can push off of that because now they have the fill up from the Arcane Boots, but it's not going to give them what they need to actually win the fight in the first place. And Navi US are just going to be really kicking ass and taking names from this point forward.
Up in the top lane, Snake King angling for initiation onto Annihilate, looking for a Viper Strike, but won't find it. Takes a Crypt Swarm instead and will be repelled. Actually taking a fair bit of damage as the tower lays into him there, but just baiting it out as there's a big rotation from his team on the way. Smoked up supports, and Brax off to the side. He's low on hit points, but Blink Dagger at the ready, and this Death Prophet will get jumped upon. Stampede used, the silence flying through. Annihilate can't even get off a single ability before he falls. Brax getting low, but gets mech'd up and will be able to survive the wrath of the tower. Another easy kill for Navi US, and now in the mid lane, Arise will get converged upon, but backs up just in the nick of time. Whoa, goes back in, single RP onto the Shadow Shaman, will skewer him back. A lot of damage coming out, finds a solo kill as Korak comes in and actually does connect with the Fissure to help him out just a bit. Now the Ember Spirit pressing forward, Flame Guard on, but will take a Mystic Flare as well as the Echo Slam. Stray Shockwave will finish off the Jakiro. Narok, he threw the Ravage, but really to no avail. He's the only one left alive, and they're just getting run over at this point, Blaze.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed it, but Narok actually died to Ancients, and he still had mana for Anchor Smash, but he literally didn't Anchor Smash the Ancients for 6 seconds straight. So I don't know. He just took a tumble there. I would say it's tactical if that Ravage in mid was a big turnaround, but not only did he not spend his gold, but the quick
Dire's
full
top
HP
tower
TP
is
to the
under
mid lane
attack.
didn't do them much either. So in the end, they're just they can't even feel safe farming up regularly in the jungle. They are just being run down left and right 10 to 1, and I really could see this just falling apart within like the first 20-25 minutes here if there isn't something huge changing or a major throw from Navi US.
Yeah, I think it really is in the hands of the Radiant to throw at this point. 10,000 gold, 7,500 experience, and 13 minutes of gameplay is nearing that insurmountable lead. Maybe not quite there, but teetering on the edge perhaps, and they just have so much better item progression. DP working on a Drum of Endurance and just pulling up for that recipe. That'll really be their first core item. The Jakiro is still working on the mech, but pretty far off the money as just a buckler and a little bit of gold to spare. They are pinging out Snake King in the top lane, who is in pretty deep, but he's pretty damn tanky. They'll stampede forward, and that'll open up for a Viper Strike on Snake King. They press into the Ember Spirit. He is all alone, and some TPs will fly forward. He takes a mech, will TP home, and there you go. Forces out 2 TPs, survives, and creates space for that mid-tier 1 tower to fall. Smart plays by Snake King, and really knowing his limits there.
So now they're just going to start battering down the tier 2s. I mean, there's nothing really stopping them from pushing forward. We're going to see a attempt to even damage Arise, but he's just got that Blink Dagger, can dodge out anything. And yeah, they're just waiting in the wings, waiting for their opening to just really crush Shadows of the Past. Korok is even nearing his Blink Dagger, 1 tower away from that. And with 3 Blinks online for Navi US, Shadows of the Past, they have to find farm. They have to just hide and turtle and hope that the game lasts long enough. But at least for now, Navi US are really bringing in the chokehold. Snake King's still farming efficiently on the side lanes, and he's actually going to be approaching Aghanim Scepter pretty quickly.
Yep, now the bottom tier 2 is taking some pretty heavy damage as Brax is just laying into it with that big Centaur axe. And Shadows of the Past, they really can't defend. They're sort of watching their structures fall and thinking about, what can we do here? And the answer seems to be pretty much nothing more often than not. F4L almost in trouble there as he moves around in the trees very close to Arise, but Fog does keep them appropriately separated now in the bottom lane. Ember Spirit will juke a Fissure, compliments of that Fire Remnant, so he survives, but still really unable to find farm anywhere in the map, and he's getting way out farmed even by the supports to the Radiant side here as Snake King once again moves forward in the top lane. And maybe we'll just see a repeat of last time as he starts chipping at the tower. They will start to converge on him, forces out 2 TPs. This is a 5-hero rotation. And this time I think Snake King will take a tumble, but with 5 heroes coming up top, Stampede used, pops his mech, turns, almost brings down the Shadow Shaman. That's a pretty big reaction for just a Viper, and it will open up for Navi US to finish off this bottom tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they still really wanted that kill, but even in any kind of way you look at the numbers, the tier 2 for a single hero is not going to be consequential enough. It really doesn't prevent Viper's progression because he wasn't having their Aghanims within the next 4 or 5 minutes anyways. It's a level 11 kill, which gives some great experience to the Shadow Shaman, putting him in range for Mass Serpent Wards, but it was still split among 5, and it's just going to be putting them just a little bit in a better spot, not significantly, and with it they lose a lot of map. They lose potential to control Roche, which is part of what this lineup really shines at, and from here it has to be a full delayed out game. Right now, as it is, Navi US, if they just push those 5, they auto-win, but there is still room for mistakes, room for errors. Like Tide's actually just going to be clipped by a few of these hits. The Kraken Chill dispelling the Fissure stun, and from there they will be able to just kind of heal up and with less cooldowns available for Navi US, maybe make a hold.
Yeah, and now Korok has his Blink Dagger, so that is the 3rd member of the Blink Brothers Club, and things getting even more scary for the Dire side. They will do a smoke rotation into the mid. Arise with a haste rune on Korok. Will get trapped inside of the wards. That's not a bad way to start off the fight as Ember Spirit secures the kill. They'll catch Skywrath Mage as well, and it will be a quick 2-for-0 exchange as the 2 Navi US supports get picked off, and those are the kind of plays that Shadows of the Past need to get back into this game, as their cheeky little smoke play in the mid does prove successful.
Yeah, and with the Exorcism still active, Death Prophet will put some real damage into this tier 1, but this is something that should have been happening at like the 7-minute mark, not the 17-minute mark. So the fact that they're only able to batter down a 1/3 of it and still have to walk away to defend, it's something, but they even need more. They're going to be trying to take up the top lane here, get the mechanism farmed up for F4L, but Snake King, he really doesn't want to quit. As long as he's got Stampede, he's really confident about his ability to hold off against 3 or 4 heroes.
Yeah, now Arise, he'll catch the Death Prophet, skewers him back right into a Silence Fissure to block off the retreat, and that'll be a dead Death Prophet. They throw down a ward on the plateau, and will just be a singleton pickoff, but now Na'Vi US will be able to lay into this top tier 2 tower a little bit more effectively, and oh boy, now a pipe is picked up on the Centaur. You were talking about all that magic damage on the Dire side, and well, now the pipe going to render a lot of it ineffective. Mid lane, Ember Spirit will take a fall as he gets caught inside of a Fissure Mystic Flare combo, creating some space for this top tier tower to take a certain death, and now in the mid lane, Na'Vi US will start to tighten the noose around the final outer tower of Shadows of the Past. Ice Path will connect onto Brax and really just tickles him at this point as Korok flies through, throws out a Fissure, and this time it will be off the mark. They pop the pipe, and they will try to pursue onto the Shakiro. There's the blink forward, hoof stomp, double edge is going to come out, and that'll be a dead Jackie. Now silence from the DP as they TP to the low ground. They'll try to take a fight here as Brax caught in the shackles. Arise coming back in. Fake pumps the RP, but then connects on 2. Now Brax coming forward. Will connect with a double edge hoof stomp onto 2 as well. Narok doesn't have the Ravage here and won't be able to keep his teammates alive. DP almost falling. That Shockwave just barely off the mark. Now they will turn it around onto the Magnus as Ember Spirit does finish him off. So Shadows of the Past do find a recovery kill, but still take pretty heavy losses. And all Snake King, he's just pressuring the top lane. He says, all right, well, you keep them busy, guys. I'll chip away at this tier 3 tower. They will respond as Jakiro and the Ember Spirit press forward. Viper Strike onto the Jakiro, and may start to commence these right clicks here as the Corrosive are a skin. Actually laying into the Jakiro, still not enough. He does have wow, doesn't have a back. That was just stick charges. Enough to keep him alive, though, and they will have the CCs to lock down the Viper. So a couple of small little pick-me-ups here for the Dire side, but just a couple of positives against a slew of negatives here, Blaze.
I think these mistakes by Snake King are what might cost Shadows of the Past the opportunity to gain momentum back. Essentially, like, they are looking for these mistakes to keep happening, and unless Snake King learns his lesson, they very well might. I mean, he's the Viper with the mechanism. He's the hero that needs to be fighting with the team and deathballing all about, but he's the one who, throughout this entire game, has just been all by himself, playing a kind of a solo game, almost pub style, and it just hasn't been working. A quick Hex will come out on Korok. They will follow it up with the Shackles, popping the Exorcism just to guarantee this kill while Ravage comes on down south.
Yep, and Narok will fall, and it is a 1-for-1 trade now as Na'Vi US basically on the retreat. Brax gets left all alone, will get caught inside of an Ice Path, and now they'll come back to reinitiate here. Pipe gets used, won't save him against the Exorcism, and Brax maybe just hoping for a neutral deny as he moves in the trees. That won't happen, and DP finds another kill. It'll be a 1-for-2 trade, and Shadows of the Past once again finds something that moves in their favor. Arise in hot pursuit does have the RP available, connects on 2. Shockwave will miss on 2, but now they get skewered back right into the reinforcements of Na'Vi US. Ice Path comes out onto 3, DP will TP home, and Jakiro will get left behind. So some interesting plays on both sides of the coin there, but it will end as a 2-for-2 trade. Earthshaker and Centaur for the Tidehunter and Jakiro.
Yeah, nice TP back from the Death Prophet, though. They obviously use both their stuns from the Magnus, and neither of the others have any way to prevent it, so Death Prophet able to get out, and only sacrificing the Jakiro to that reverse polarity, which isn't the end of the world, except for the fact that he just keeps on getting pushed back away from that mechanism. Korok going for a solo kill here, just able to go for it, a solo Echo Slam, and with the follow-up of Chain Stun, is able to finish off the Ember Spirit. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, I totally missed that. I was not ready for the Earthshaker to be able to solo the Ember Spirit. I mean, not that he's a tanky hero, but with Flame Guard, you would think that he'd be able to absorb enough of the damage to survive. Maybe he got caught without the Flame Guard active, making it an easier kill. He will try to go for his Drum of Endurance, but still a little bit off the mark. Mid lane, Arise has an invisibility rune, and they're looking for some potential initiation here. No RP for another 45 seconds, but it will be coming up right around the time that invisibility expires, maybe a few seconds after. Macro Pyre flies through to clear up this creep wave. Snake King will pop the mech, but Crypt Swarm will be there to finish him off. So looking at this graph, it is plateauing a little bit, but still a very large 15,000 gold, 7,500 experience lead for Na'Vi US, who are really just having a little bit of fun with it at this point, it feels like. Brax down bottom will be forced to pop the Stampede as he gets initiated upon. Will survive, but that is a Stampede on cooldown as he moves into a Heart of Tarask most likely, with the Vitality Booster already in tow.
Middle tower is under attack.
The gold graph, like you said, is kind of tapering off as far as the advantage for Na'Vi US, but if you actually just look at net worth strictly and look at the gold density that they have with certain heroes, you're getting a decent amount of farm on the Tidehunter and the Death Prophet, but a Death Prophet isn't going to be able to solo carry this game. They're going to get hexed out, they're going to be able to burn him down very quickly, but the Force Staff home, the mechanism to keep him alive.
Yeah, but it's not over yet. Now the Ember Spirit comes in, connects with the Searing Chains, and that will be enough to bring down the Snake King, but Ember Spirit has to commit deep forward. It will cost him his life.
Nice.
3 Hero Heartbeat from Arise. They get skewered back. Korok's there with all the damage. A Ravage to fly, but it's just not enough. Snake King, the only loss for Navi US, and it's a full 5-man wipe for Shadows of the Past. Beautiful setup from Arise right into the AoE damage of Brax and Korok.
First time Snake King fights with this team is really not by his own choice. He's kind of the bait, the lamb that went to slaughter, but it's enough for the turnaround. Shadows of the Past losing major cooldowns, losing all of their lives. They're all dead, and the tier 2 is going to go with them. They take that, they open up Roshan wide for the side of Navi US, and they are looking good to just close this one out early. I mean, even blinking in, wow, that was a fishing skewer if I've ever seen one. Force blink skewer just in case there was somebody looking to counter push the wave.
Yep. Rise trying to make the big plays, going for the blind skewer, but what are you going to do? Sometimes you just got to roll the dice a little bit there, Blaze. I mean, after all, they do have a genuine golden Doomling, so stands to reason we've got some high rollers here on the Radiant side.
Korok's looking for another solo Echo. Going for the Fisher first. Doesn't even need the Echo Slam. Just a double enchant. He doesn't even have any strength items, and he's still able to do this.
Oh, it will cost Korok his life, though, as they do TP in and initiate on him, but Navi US do have some reinforcements coming in, and they won't dive the base for it. Ends up as a 1-for-1, but Korok's still going for the big plays there and will prove successful. Keeps his Echo Slam available. Now Snake King moving into the high ground. Will get initiated upon once more. Roster wards come out outside of the base and don't really do all that much. Chip away 1437. Snake King will get jumped on now as Tide blinks forward. Viper Strike onto Annihilate. Mystic Flare comes through, but there will be a defensive Yules to keep him alive. Another skewer from Arise finishes off the Shadow Shaman and the Death Prophet. Now Ember Spirit pressing forward, trying to grab a kill onto 1437. He'll be able to survive. The slows from Snake King will slow him up, and it will be a 2-for-3 exchange so far. Tide hops forward, finishes off that Skywrath, but it will cost him everything. At 2-for-4 now as Navi US take another team fight. Ice Path, Macro Pyre, just not enough damage.
Yeah, he's even kind of like tiptoeing into the Macro Pyre to do some damage every time to F4L before he cleans up the ward. Snake King just is pretty, not really giving much respect to Shadows of the Past here. Their movement in general is showing that they are feeling this one's in the bag here. It seems like Arise is the only one taking it fully seriously. He's the tryhard here. Whereas Korok, Snake King, they're just going for the flashy stuff. But yeah, we're going to see a huge momentum swing for Navi US once again. They have great map control. Heart is going to come out for the Centaur. And yeah, it's going to take a hell of a lot more throws for Shadows of the Past to feel confident in this game once more. Even still, they do have the late game scaling, but you don't pick up an Ember Spirit to be 5,300 net worth 25 minutes in.
Yeah, certainly not. He will pick up his Drum of Endurance now to go with his Aquila and 4-man shield, but still very, very poor. Top lane, Snake King initiated upon once again, but Stampede comes out. That'll keep him alive, and they do secure the kill onto Jakiro. Now Annihilate pops the Exorcism, but gets destroyed by Brax. In comes Korok with a big Echo Slam, and it will be a 3-for-0 trade now. Narok with a Ravage available, but to what avail? It's just him and the Ember Spirit who happens to be farming that bottom lane. Now this top tier 3 tower taking a lot of damage. Glyph available for Shadows of the Past. Looking at the buyback situation, it is pretty grim. There are no dire buybacks available, so they will pop the Glyph and kind of delaying the inevitable here. Reasonably short respawn timers, but even if DP were to buy back or come back into this game with a shorter respawn timer, with no ultimate, there's only so much that she brings to the table. Brax will help zone them out a little bit. He is so big now, 2,700 HP. Viper Strike is disjointed by the Tide. Nice blink back there into the well. They will smoke in the well and maybe look to hold the racks still. Ravage available. Melee racks are still standing. Range have already gone down. This will be a full lane of racks, even if they connect with the big Ravage here. He does keep the Shadow Shaman alive. Pops his wand charges. Will they have enough damage to secure kills onto Navi US, though, is the question. Mech popped by Snake King keeps him alive. J4L will fall as he makes it back to the well. Narok in the middle of the fray, looking to finish off Snake King. Will find it, but it looks like it will cost him his life. Korok does get picked off by the Ember Spirit around the side, but now Annihilate gets annihilated. Arise pops forward, RP on 2, skewer back, and another full 5-man wipe as Navi US clean it up and force out the GG well played. It's 35-13. Navi US with a pretty damn convincing team or match over Shadows of the Past.
Definitely. They really ran this draft the way they wanted to. It was a little clowny at the end there, how much an advantage they had and how well they could execute it. But you just saw the last couple of times the Death Prophet came out to fight, how quickly she just got shredded by that Centaur. They're almost the Centaur alone. Maybe the Ancient Seal helping out a little bit, but for the most part, just Brax jumping in and finding all these easy solo kills, Korok trying to join the party on that, but it cost him his life a few more times. Nevertheless, it's just great execution in the laning phase in particular with last hits, and when it came down to the mid game, the continuous aggression, some great RPs from Arise, showing why that Magnus pick can be just so damn devastating. But I still have to chalk it up to a little bit of inexperience from Shadows of the Past. Their draft on the Ember seemed to not match the tempo with the rest of their lineup, and obviously they made a few mistakes here and there when it came down to getting picked off. In the end, well played to Navi US, and some well-deserved points going into Starladder America.
Yep, not much else I can add to that, my friend. Coming up next, we will have CNB versus the Dream Destroyers, and that is scheduled to start reasonably soon here, I believe in about 15 minutes, as we were a little bit delayed coming into our first match of the day. So pretty short break, then we'll be back with plenty more Dota. We have 4 more matches to come. I'm Zyori, joined remotely by Blaze. Thank you for joining us for Day 5 of Starladder Season 10 America coverage. Don't go anywhere, because we're coming right back.